DDG episode 219. My name is Dave, and I'm joined by Michael.
Dave, I don't know about you, but I've just been hearing like old timey 1950s music for the last like 2 weeks because of Fallout,
Ah,
and it's just starting to drive me nuts. It's starting to drive me nuts. Playing quite a few games that, as someone playing Fallout games, I realize there's only like maybe 6 songs per game. So just hearing those
the
songs over and
soundtrack
over.
is lacking.
It's a damn good soundtrack. Every song fits every situation in those games, but I my Amazon playlist is going to just be some random ass old music for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I watched I think we can talk about it a little bit, but I watched one more episode of it, but having a little bit of a hard time getting into it. So,
Yeah.
but not that it's just that, like I said, the episodes are long. So,
Yeah,
um,
they're an hour long. I think the shortest might be like 52 minutes, 55 minutes, something
yeah.
like that.
So yeah, we are Digital Days Gaming. We're a weekly podcast that posts on Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern time on podcast services. You can also watch us live on Twitch or YouTube. Links are in the show notes. You can subscribe to us on Twitch if you'd like. You can link your Twitch account and your Amazon account for Twitch Gaming. Prime Gaming is what it's called. And you get a free subscription to a streamer of your choice. If you use that on us, that's appreciative. It doesn't auto renew, so please just consider checking that. And also on YouTube, you can subscribe on YouTube. That's free, and you can watch that. You can watch it, or you can watch us live on archive, your own live. You can go to our live channel, and it'll show you all of the other stuff. Or you can listen to / watch the audio only version that does not have us on camera on YouTube as well. There's almost like there is an RSS feed on the YouTube channel now for our weekly show.
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube Music now officially. I think that finally switched over a couple weeks ago, where Google Podcast is gone, but YouTube Music still exists. So you can go to YouTube Music and subscribe to us there. And I think you can review us on YouTube Music. I'm not positive on that, but we are there now as well.
All right. So yes, there are plenty of ways for you to choose to consume our podcast, either in a video format, an audio format, or a video format that is only audio.
Yes, yeah, we got options.
So,
Yeah, Twitch archive, YouTube archive. We got a little bit of everything.
yep. All right, and everything else to join the community: Discord, Facebook, other just regular website ways to support us through live streaming services is all linked in the show notes. Join the we highly push the Discord just to kind of join the community and hang out with the voice channels, and so many games having crossplay and cross save stuff going on now. It's been a little refreshing when there's stuff to play to see the people that are in there interacting and talking. Helldivers is still moving along, not as much activity around it as normal, but they're still posting news and videos in there and stuff. So if there's a certain game you're into, just consider either asking me to make a channel for it, which I gladly will, or just post something in the general channel and see if you get any chatter around it, and then if it needs to become its own channel, we can. But I highly recommend joining the Discord. It goes in its ebbs and flows where it's super active for a couple days, and then it kind of just chills out for a little while, and then it spikes back up again. Most social interactions, somebody says something, and it just starts a snowball. But
Basically, right now, the Helldivers and the collection channels
Yeah.
are like the main channels that got the most traffic.
Yep. So with that, we are going to jump into the news.
Yeah, we got not too many stories, but we're kind of expecting the next couple weeks to be a little bit slow story wise because we have Summer Game Fest just a month and a half away, month and a couple weeks, something
Yeah,
like that. So,
6-7 weeks.
The first one is a bummer. So Sony and Sumo confirmed Little Big Planet 3 is completely shut down. This is after months of it being offline, after it had to be taken offline, what they were saying temporarily due to technical issues. These technical issues basically were. It's been a very tough time for Little Big Planet the last year or 2 years. They've been dealing with constant hacking. There was some DDoS attacks going on, and just in general some exploits that were really bringing the servers down to their knees. So back in January, it was taken offline temporarily, and PlayStation had to basically come out, or Sumo Digital, I believe, is the one that officially came out and said "Hey, we can't bring the servers back. We're sorry, but it's basically time to move on." People will still be able to play single player content. their own creations and any creations they have downloaded, but they will be losing access to the. I put it's like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of community created levels that were in Little Big Planet 3, because these were also the online levels that people made in Little Big Planet 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So if you told me there's over 1 million levels on this platform, I wouldn't be surprised because it's been out since 2007. So yeah, this is kind of a big blow. I don't think it's a surprise things shut down, they get old. This one kind of sucks though, because usually when a service gets shut down, they kind of give you some time to prepare for it and maybe download levels, but this sounds like they just weren't able to even bring it back up online due to all the technical and hacks.
This is a case of probably something bad broke, like really bad, that exposed something, and the safest thing to do was take it down. And then I think, unfortunately, pulling that plug meant that theoretically the plug didn't fit back on the wall again.
No, and you're talking about like Sumo Digital is like a third party studio.
Yeah.
You know, this is a Media Molecule that made Little Big Planet 3. So you're asking, PlayStation's probably asking someone at Sumo, hey, you remember those servers that you guys were in charge of, that game you made 10, 12 years ago that you probably don't have anyone on the team anymore for that? Can you fix this? And then PlayStation would then have to like probably make a new contract with Sumo. Like, let's figure out what's going on.
And who knows how much it costs to navigate the spaghetti code of 2007.
Yeah. Especially like you're talking about like Little Big Planet 3. How long ago was Little Big Planet 3?
I mean, you're obviously PS3, so we're 2 or 3 years into PS5, and we're 10, 11 years into PS4. So
yeah, because Little Big Planet 3 was PS4, PS3, 2014. So 10 years since Little Big Planet 3 going on. And you're talking about Little Big Planet 3 was holding LB1 and LB2's content as well. So it's probably a hell of a mess.
LB1 and LB2's content was not made by Sumo.
Yeah. So you had to get like a lot of stuff talking to get this going. This is a shame because part of the reason why they had to go down is they were being attacked by a disgruntled part of the community who had the plan of like, we'll bring the servers down because they're not supporting it as much anymore, which was just like baffling because
so now the answer is just nothing. So good kudos to those guys or gals or people.
Yeah, it's like bang up job right there. There is some people out there that basically have been trying to archive as much of Little Big Planet because they kind of foresaw this coming. So those efforts are being done, just like how people brought back PlayStation Home.
Yeah, but I mean, unless somebody can figure out a way to archive it and share it, like that.
And that's what happened with PlayStation Home. Like PlayStation Home is online because they basically asked people like, give us your save file and your game data so that we can dive into that and then bring stuff up. So there's a chance it could be archived to some point, but you're talking about like custom firmware and connecting to some random ass person's server. So it'll most likely be a mess, and most people probably aren't going to want to put the effort into it.
Correct.
Though if you are upset about Little Big Planet going away, you're probably crazy enough to take the extra steps to get something on custom firmware. I just think
it's going to fall into that realm of, this is similar to the people that tried to make a homebrew version of SOCOM, as well as people that what's the game that you could get out of the ship, get in the ship, you could fly, you could fight.
Warhawk.
Yeah. So like,
which they brought that server back, and it's pretty easy to get onto it, but it took a long ass time to do. I'm in one of those servers where what do they currently have running? They have Warhawk, Twisted Metal Black, Wipeout HD, PlayStation Home, SOCOM Confrontation, Ratchet and Clank for the PS2.
Yeah.
Killzone 2, Resistance, Motorstorm, Calling All Cars, Pain, Mag, and SOCOM 4.
And that's like, those things are so cool because they're literally fan driven, but I just wonder like how many bodies are really in there.
You'll be surprised, but what happened?
I know, like I'm not demeaning it, but it's just like, is the like, and again, some people use it as hell. They use it as
it's a resume. Basically.
Yeah, like hey, I can do this. Like this is what I maintain. This is what I'm doing. Yeah, it's like a selling point for like, I have the capability of doing this. That's great. And I just wonder if that's. I hope for those people it has been a return on investment for them, because some of those things take time, effort, energy, money. The one that I've been seeing more stuff around the last couple of years, like we talked about years ago, was like people were still updating rosters for like NCAA 2014 with current times.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
no, there's people that, like, it sounds crazy, but there's people that still update No Mercy on a Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Like, people found a way to run updates for those games to have like the current day wrestlers. But like right now on one of the servers that I'm on that does like that brought back the online, there's 10,000 members and there's 2,500 people online right now
Oh, that's awesome.
on that Discord channel. But that's still not a ton
2,500
of
people on Discord or on the game?
They are in various servers right now, so that
Okay.
it's hard to tell what they're on. But like
Yeah.
right now, there's
I'd
a
just be
couple
really curious how
channels.
many of those are playing Warhawk or whatever, like
Yeah,
actively playing. Now you know what? It's 100% worth it. I'm in this camp. It's like, hey, we're doing Monday night, poker night or whatever, and there's 200 people in there, or there's 25 people in there. Like, awesome, great job that you have a community that you want to do that with. And if it's one night a week and it's worth it to you to do that, kudos to you. You're doing amazing work to provide a place and outlet for anybody to play games comfortably.
that's what mostly comes down to. Like, I can get on a game right now in Warhawk because I've done it before. I have my PS3 right here. I could literally load it up and to see like, hey, how many people are on Warhawk? You can usually find like a game of 24 people on at any given point, like on Warhawk. But that's like only one server.
Yeah.
And what it mostly relies on are what you're saying, where like someone will get on a Discord, just kind of how like our Helldivers channel works, of just like, hey, anyone want to hop on, and then everyone hops on, or they set a designated night.
Yep.
So like that's what that kind of relies on. When it comes to like the stuff that they've done with PlayStation Home, that's just them just kind of flexing that they are able to do it and just trying to, under the guise of like preservation. But it's also, I think it's just people that are just like, can I do it? Like, technically, is it possible? And I imagine that will happen with Little Big Planet, just because a lot of people put a ton of work in the levels that they created. People are still making content for it. So bringing that data into some form again that will be playable will be pretty cool. But will it be worth the effort for like me or Dave to be like, you know what, I'm gonna hop on the custom Little Big Planet servers and play the game?
The answer for me is no.
Yeah, and for me, it's gonna be like, well, how much effort? Because I'm not the biggest.
How many hoops do I got to jump through with one leg? Like,
yeah, I'm the person that like people run custom firmware in their PS3s and still unlock trophies and stuff like that. And I'm the type of person, I'm like, I'm not using my PSN ID with custom firmware because I'm not risking getting my account banned.
Yeah.
But yeah, Little Big Planet is officially dead. Really good time for Media Molecule to maybe like try and resurrect it, because I still think that franchise could mean something. It's at least, I thought, a more viable.
Sackboy is iconic.
Dreams.
Like, Sackboy is iconic. They could, like, they were never really a game, and if they figured out what they want Little Big Planet to look like in 2025 in terms of a functional style of service playable game, like, I think Media Molecule is one of the studios that could do it if they decide to not try to shoot for the moon and just say, hey, let's make a game that's fun to play, that everybody can play, and go back to the whole thing, like play, create, share. Like, really go back to that model. Like, play the game first, create stuff in the game, and then share it.
Yeah, you would have to imagine, like, if you're PlayStation and you just see the success of Roblox and to a different extent, Minecraft, you have to be like, we were this close with Little Big Planet.
Right.
We were never close with Dreams, but Dreams kind of, I think the visuals for Dreams just, it looked cool, but it wasn't mass appeal.
Dreams
like
didn't have an iconic character.
No, that's what I mean.
It didn't have a focal point. Sure, like Minecraft's got their green block guy, and I don't even, Roblox has whatever Roblox has, but Little Big Planet has Sackboy. Yeah. Like, they have it. They have him.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Little Big Planet was closer to achieving what Media Molecule wanted than Dreams did, just because they had a base there that was pretty iconic for the time, and I think could still be revived if they put the effort into it in terms of marketing and trying to get people out there.
I agree.
Little Big Planet would have done so good in the Twitch environment.
Yep.
Because the Twitch environment, it was Justin TV back, when Little Big Planet was around. But we'll see what happens from that, but I don't know what's going on. The next thing is Fallout 76 hit 1 million players in one day, according to Bethesda. Fallout is this resurgence we talked about this last week due to the TV show. They also said that in general, Fallout saw 5 million players across the various games and platforms. That's another thing from Bethesda. And then Fallout 76 has seen its Steam concurrent player counts reach all time highs. Like it beat its own record like 3 times in the last week. And we're seeing like a huge like thirst for Fallout. I wanted to bring this up because I know Dave talked about downloading Fallout 76. I don't know if you got any chance to play it, but
I downloaded it. It's 112 gigs on PC.
But yeah, Bethesda is seeing this huge increase in interest in the franchise, and I couldn't find the article, so I can't credit to the person, but they had a very good point that I don't fully agree with, but I sort of did. It was basically saying like Fallout's success as a TV show and this resurgence of Fallout kind of shows like the failure currently with like Xbox, though I would blame Bethesda a little bit more of just them not being ready for this interest in terms of having a game ready to go around this time. I don't know how you feel about that. This seems almost poor planning on their part because there seems to be a thirst for Fallout and they're probably not making as much money as they could if they had a newer Fallout coming sooner. And I believe Bethesda kind of came out was just like, yeah, Elder Scrolls is a couple years away, and then we'll start working on Fallout 5, which means we're probably not getting a new Fallout until 10 years, something like that.
Yeah, it would be a long time. Yeah, I definitely 100% agree. It's a missed opportunity. I'm having a hard time finding Fallout 76 on Steam. Like,
oh yeah.
So I mean, I know it's free on Game Pass, or it's on Game Pass, free on Game Pass. Sorry, it's part of Game Pass. So Game Pass and Game Pass PC, which is where I downloaded it from. I downloaded it after we recorded last week, and I actually had to like delete some stuff off my PC. I was like annoyed, which just told me I need to start looking into upgrading my hard drive for my PC. But that's a whole nother thing. And I like is something even just something to build on, from a some type of release standpoint, even if it was just a huge update, a new thing, and whether
like
to
they're
Fallout
doing
76,
yeah, like they're doing the update for Fallout 4, but like
that's not enough. Like it needed to be like another branch in 76, like another like, hey, go see the same area that they showed in the show. Like I don't know. Like I'm not far enough in the show to know where they have or haven't been, but like go do base building, explore like the area that you saw the characters explore in the first couple episodes. Something to tie to it. I am curious if how much some of this stuff was affected by the writer's strike. Because the writer's strike did affect video games, right?
It may be a little bit, but it shouldn't have been too drastic.
Okay.
It wouldn't have stopped them from developing.
I think it affected some actors, though, like voice actors.
Well, there was the voice actor the voice actor strike and the actor strike there. So it would have delayed some things a little bit.
But I feel like in general, I think that these video game companies, Microsoft, Sony, all of these companies for the most part, kind of were like looking at TV like, oh, that's cute. Okay, sure, that's a good idea. That's a cute idea. And then we saw like the Last of Us show do well, and we saw the resurgence in Last of Us players.
But look how fast they got those remasters out.
Yep. And then so they jumped on it really quick, and then we saw some success, smaller success with Twisted Metal, and people kind of started talking about that again. And there was something that was in development that fell apart. And now you're seeing it with Fallout, and I feel like there was another video game show. So we had Fallout, Twisted Metal, and Last of Us. Is that it?
Yeah, there was a couple movies like the Uncharted movie, which they brought out a remaster around that time just to to go
So
there.
and this might have been something too, like, to be honest with you, that might have already been in the works during the acquisition, and maybe it just kind of fell through the cracks. I don't think that this whole thing started like after Microsoft bought them, because I don't think. Well, it's been a long enough time, but it takes a long time to do a TV show. Like,
So let me see. When was it announced?
but ultimately, it comes down to, sure, like Phil Spencer and his team might have mismanaged Bethesda, but everything we heard from it was that Microsoft just wanted them under their umbrella. Like, Bethesda's still Bethesda. Todd Howard and the other guy that's leaving, Pete Hines.
Pete Hines.
Spencer kind of publicly said, like, you do your own thing, and so
2020
is when it was announced.
Yeah.
So that was before the acquisition, way before the acquisition. So it wasn't like it was known or unknown, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think he's at a certain point in time, Phil Spencer can't get a game out in 2 years.
Yeah. But like you would imagine, like I wonder, because like when the article was kind of saying like this is like shows you the faults with Xbox, I think it kind of shows maybe the faults with Bethesda on why they were also available for acquisition.
Because they didn't have a plan. Oh, this is cool. What are you going to piggyback on it? Well, nothing.
Yeah. In terms of like they put a lot of money into 76. It did not work out. It eventually kind of evened out, and they almost felt like they were unprepared for that because they were like, they could have ramped up some stuff a little bit with 76. It seems like it kind of calmed down. The last expansion did come out in like December of 2023, which is fine, but I also feel like they were kind of happy with where their player base was, and I don't see room for expansion.
Well, and I think that they were also kind of under the camp of like trying to tell their board, like, look, live service doesn't work. We don't want to do it.
Yeah, and that could have ultimately, like led them to being like, yeah, I guess we'll do these expansions, and they were very much like, remember there was no NPCs in that. Remember we were at the E3 that they announced NPCs coming to 76. Like it always seemed like they just weren't prepared, and they had to put a lot of effort to get 76 right. But it also doesn't really feel like 76 is some like huge money making endeavor. It might start being that now, but we're talking about like older content, a lot of content that's been on sale, a lot of stuff that's just been like given out for free, that like I'm sure if you're Bethesda, you're like, fuck, if we just thought about this a little bit more, we could have had something.
At the same time, like how much, I mean, I kind of lost my train of thought here, but like how much effort is worth it? I kind of put Fallout 76 kind of in this little category, like similar to like For Honor and The Division, and it's like, okay, yeah, like there's a really cool rabid community there, but it's not moving the needle. Right now it is, because how long is this gonna last? Like 6 weeks, 4 weeks?
No, and that's the thing. That's where I'm at on it, where I'm just like, how long is it gonna last? But how can you strike while that iron's hot?
Yeah.
And right now I feel like it's kind of set up to be like this cute little thing that will hold people over for a couple weeks, but I don't know if they have anything set up that's going to be like,
right. Oh, cool. Hey, you're playing our game, and you've been playing our game for 4 weeks. Check out what's coming out in 2 weeks. To stay here.
Exactly.
And ultimately, like what we're talking about, honestly, though, is like best case scenario, Michael. When do you think season 2 airs on TV? Like holiday 2025?
Yeah.
Like, so you're talking about it's April 2024 right now. So you're talking about 15, 16 months. Like they'll just the internet, like we just know, like the internet just the internet and it just moves on.
Like, no, and that's the thing is like the problem they're gonna have is like ideally the show will be more popular season 2 than season 1, just off word of mouth. But you're probably not gonna get the people that went to 76 in season 1 that quit to come back to 76 for season 2. And this is where I think Xbox really needs to look at things and go to Bethesda and be like, we know you want to work on Fallout 5 in about 6 or 7 years ago, but we can't, like, fiscally, that would not be responsible.
We own all the companies. It's time for you to make New Vegas look pretty.
Or go like, hey, we own the parents of Fallout, Obsidian.
Yeah.
They can bust out games relatively quick compared to all of our other studios.
Give them all your Fallout 3 assets and let them do it.
Or like, hey, they made New Vegas. New Vegas has got a lot of popularity right now. Shit, I'm playing it.
Yeah.
Let them remaster it, or let them take over and do Fallout 5.
Yeah.
and let us
with
then
you
take,
and an advisory board still having your hands
yeah.
on it because we're all under the same umbrella.
Yeah, you can still have Todd Howard. You can still.
But we need Fallout 5 to come out before Elder Scrolls. Like, we need that now.
Yeah, or if we can get them to come out within
Yeah.
a year, part of each other, that would
Yeah.
be amazing. And then you go to, like, especially Xbox right now, they need to just produce fucking content still,
Mm-hmm.
and they could go to one of their other studios. They have 26 fucking studios.
Yeah.
They're only releasing 4 games this year.
You're telling me somebody
between
can't
26
make an
studios.
8 to 10 hour Fallout style game or Fallout game?
Yeah,
Like a
or
single player
just
linear
remaster.
Fallout. Yeah.
You know, like this is, I would say, like the next, like,
When's the last time Bethesda remastered something?
they haven't.
Okay.
They've never done that, and the Fallout 1 and 2 games are completely different games.
Oh, I'm
than
sorry,
3.
Skyrim.
Oh yeah, shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's
but
really
that didn't
it.
even feel like a remaster.
That was just
honestly.
like, hey, we made it work on PS4. Hey, we made it work on PS5.
We added mods.
Hey, play with the
support on
goggles.
console.
We made it work in VR.
I forget. Yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 has been ported. I would say those
Yeah.
are ports more than remasters. And the next 15 months that you said, like, that could the season 2, I think those are going to be super crucial for Xbox to be like, hey, this Fallout franchise we knew was popular, but it has proven to be like one of the most popular franchises in our portfolio or in gaming in general. We need to take advantage of this, and we need to get some content out.
Either you need to make something or you need to give it up and tell us and let us give it to somebody else.
Yeah, and honestly, Xbox has already put people in charge. You know, like Pete Hines is gone, and other people have been switched out to where there probably isn't much of an argument
right
that would need to happen between, you know.
But hitting 1 million
companies.
players 4 years after your release is phenomenal.
Yeah, hitting the 5 million just across the various games is just wild. So like they have to be looking at this data and being like, we need to take advantage of it. All right, we'll move on to the next story. Fucking Embracer Group, man. Embracer Group announced that they're going to break into 3 separate companies. So Embracer announced that they're going to be doing this. The 3 companies are going to each have their own listing on the Swedish NASDAQ. So the companies are going to be Asmodo or Asmode, maybe? I don't know. Coffee Stain, Asmodi, Coffee Stain and Friends, and Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. Not the best names for any of these companies, but whatever. So Asmodi
for
will
the
continue
record on NASDAQ, one of them might be called ACS, which is ass.
Yep. See, so Asmodi will be a publisher and distributor of board games, trading cards, and digital board games. They will own 23 studios that are going to be in that business. I believe Dark Horse Comics is also going to be a part of that one. Coffee Stain and Friends will focus on PC, console, and mobile games, including community-driven free-to-play games, indie and AA games. Middle Earth and Enterprises and Friends will be the creative powerhouse, is how they're calling it, in AAA game developments. They will be in charge of Lord of the Rings, Tomb Raider, Dead Island, Metro, Kingdom Come Deliverance. The studios that they will be under that umbrella will be Crystal Dynamics, Dambuster, Eidos Montreal, Flying Wild Hog, Tripwire, Vertigo, Warhorse, and 4A Games. Funny thing I didn't put in a bullet point for Dave. Asmodi is actually the company that's making the most money of these 3 companies, because it sounds like the other 2 just aren't doing too well, but based on like how they've been handling a lot of those game studios, it's not super surprising. But Dave, this seems like a last effort.
Yes, structurally creating 3 different pillars like this makes sense.
Yes,
like structurally. In terms of, okay, you do this, and you do this, instead of like them all trying to be like, okay, who's making video games? Okay, who's making board games? Versus now it's like, okay, whatever the IP is, oh, we want to make a board game. Okay, give it to Asmodi. Oh, we want to make this board game. We want to try to make it a mobile game. Okay, give it to blah blah, to Coffee Stain. And then, oh, now we have like, we want to do something with the Tomb Raider IP.
Now.
Yeah, it's like give it to Middle Earth. So that seems to work, and And I genuinely am happy for anybody that's working for those studios and companies that are now working in those 3 independent pillars, because they really do know what their focus is, I think,
Yeah.
structurally.
It helps them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it help them financially? I don't fucking know. Um, but I mean, just looking at some of this stuff, like, I'm sorry, but like these franchises aren't gonna move the needle. Like the Lord of the Rings game wasn't that good. Tomb Raider is probably the golden
They
child
own
in this
all
one.
of Lord of the Rings though, which is
Okay,
beneficial.
sure.
Yeah.
So what? 10 years later for a video game? Come on, look how long it took to make the movies.
Movies and TV
Yeah,
shows. Though.
yeah.
They're like
Dead
they
Dead
also
Island,
earn that.
Metro,
Yeah.
maybe. Kingdom Come of Deliverance, no, thank you. So it's like, okay, you still have Crystal Dynamics. Wow, they seem like they're very unhappy. But
Eidos Montreal seems like they're very unhappy.
Yeah, but you lost the Deus Ex stuff. You lost like just this other stuff that these studios like thrive at. It doesn't seem like you have it. Selfishly, like, where's Darksiders?
Well, that's the thing is that that was a AAA thing that they kind of turned into a
To
double A indie thing.
Yeah.
To where like the thing that's going to be like something a lot of us need to question is just like, can stuff bounce between the companies? Like,
and again, selfishly, I want the saga to wrap. I want the fourth horseman saga to wrap. Like there's a part of me that wants that conclusion, and I don't think I'm gonna get it.
You're never gonna get it unless you read some comics or some novelizations, because at this point it wouldn't even make sense, because most of the people would be like, what a Darksider.
Yeah, everybody be half the age of me now. Yeah. But again, foundationally, I don't think it's gonna I think in a year we're gonna hear something about one of these things going under. If I had to guess right now, it's Coffee Stain going under.
Unfortunately, unless they hit a mobile game out of the park.
Right. Because like we've seen it. I mean, there's a huge uptick in board games. Like you've seen it. You're some of the lanes that social circles you run into this stuff. Like
there's so many like board game stores that open up.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's boyfriend, like when he was up here, he brought bags of board games, and I was like, it took him longer to explain it to me than to play it. But then when we played it, I had a great time.
Yeah.
So but I'm like, okay.
When he buzzed out the board games, were you just like, first?
No, I knew about him. It's fine. But there was one that I can't even remember the name of it. I'm terrible. But there was one that you played this game that looked like you were putting gems on a stained glass window, and there was rules that you couldn't put 2 of the same gems together, and you had to roll certain things. It was super interesting, and there's tons and tons of strategy to it. Some of my ADD that I have, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to pay attention to this, but I'm still trying to learn, and I'm trying to help somebody learn. Like we're trying to, you ask a question and you're trying to intervene your understanding with the rules understanding, and so that part of 4 or 5 person social conversation is fine. And it's great, and I've seen some of that stuff. I mean, I've got a couple people that I know through Discord and stuff like that. They have D&D nights and stuff like that, and kudos to them, like that they have these games that just go on forever. But there's a market there. I mean, I'm not naive to it. You walk into Target or Myers or all these stores, and they've got 30-40 feet dedicated to board games and card games. Like,
you remember like 10 years ago that board game section was shrinking and was tiny.
Yep.
And now it's like, usually if you go to a Target, it runs the same length as the entire toy section.
Board games, cards, and puzzles. Like, cool. And some of those puzzles, man, I've been tempted. I've been taking Owen to the Lego store like once a month to get him to fill up his Lego box for like $8 or whatever, and he gets a bunch of random Legos because he loves building them. But I see some of those things, and I'm like, I really want to build that. I go, that's $500. And Angela and I were looking at, for her, she's a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and they had the whole, like, I can't think of the name of the garden or something, like, I'm terrible, but this thing where she's like, is all of that really in there? And I'm like, it looks like it, because it was like 7,000 pieces or something like that. And she's like, that looks really, like, like, even for her mental state, she's like, I would love to like work on that like 2 hours a week or something like that, and it might take her a year to do it. But our biggest fear right now is that I build something cool and Owen wants to play with it. like I build a Bowser, and he's like, and he thinks he's gonna make Bowser like Godzilla or something like that. And the next thing I know, I come home and Bowser's leg is off of him.
What set was it?
It was a Lord of the Rings set, Garden of something.
Rivendell building?
Yeah, Rivendell. Yeah, it's like $500, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I think maybe not 7,000 pieces, 4,500 pieces, 3,700 pieces.
I'm just looking at it right now.
And she was like, look at like she was even looking at the picture. She's like, look at the roof. She's
Yeah,
like, do you know how long it would
6,000
take me to do the
pieces.
roof? Like, 'cause
I know
she's
somebody that works at Lego. I'm just like, how much is that discount? Uh,
ah, she's don't
yeah,
tempt me. So
yeah. The this is one of those things where like they divide the companies, and I feel like the company that's probably the happiest about this is the board game company
yeah,
because they're probably like, thank fucking god,
we don't have to
because
worry
like,
about making this our board game into a video game right now. It's somebody else's problem.
or we don't have to worry about their bottom line
Yeah.
of like, oh cool, the fucking Gollum game lost all of the money. Sweet, now we have to suffer with layoffs because the Middle Earth people had a dumb idea for
Yeah.
a game they wanted to make. This will probably benefit them the most. Like all three companies are probably excited, or if you're inside one of those companies, you're like, thank God we're separated from the other ones. Like you said, there will be some more direction. Or they're now worried of like, shit, now everything is on us.
Right.
You know, like we no longer have the board game people to like hold us up. We no longer have the Amazon Lord of the Rings show
Mm-hmm.
$1 billion to lean on. So this hopefully will lead to three stronger companies, but to your point, I can see one of them potentially having issues because they won't have the other to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
And it also though makes it easier to now buy and acquire sections of this if you're a bigger company. Though honestly,
Yeah.
if the Xbox money starts rolling into Ubisoft, I could totally see Ubisoft being like, "We want the board game people."
Yeah.
Just because this seems like an Ubisoft
Division
move.
Homeland has been turned into a board game.
Yeah. The Assassin's Creed board games, all sorts of content could be made. But this does make things easier for them to be acquired, which I feel like Embracer has just been kind of hoping to be
Mhm.
acquired for a while when money was flowing through the industry. And they've been making moves to make themselves more appealing to be acquired.
Yeah, but
Because
they're
I feel
losing
like they're
money on
trying to
these
tap out.
deals. Like,
No, yeah, no, they are, but they've been having to trim the fat as much as
Yeah.
possible to make themselves more appealing because they were bloated.
mm-hmm.
You know, they when we saw those infographics
Yeah,
like 2 years
them
ago.
losing Borderlands was like I think they had no choice when like and they were letting Borderlands go, Gearbox go. I think they kind of just had no choice. But they had to do something drastically different, and this is what it is.
Yep.
So,
But yeah, that's all I have for the news.
all right. It looks like you have something in here for what's been delayed.
Yeah, Fallout London has been delayed. So a lot of Fallout stuff. So basically, Fallout London, the mod was supposed to come out last week, and they couldn't because Bethesda decided to surprise announce the Fallout 4 updates were not only coming to console, but they were coming to PC. And the updates to Fallout 4 could potentially break a lot of the mods that were, put together for Fallout London. So the devs basically kind of had to go out there and be like, we're so sorry, but we don't want to release broken content, which is funny because it's like a Bethesda,
This is a
adjacent thing.
non-Bethesda studio, right?
Yeah. This is a completely independent people that made a free mod.
That Bethesda's allowing to work on stuff for like giving them access, right?
No,
Okay.
they have no access to anything.
Okay.
They're just using mods to make a completely different game.
And they're saying
and
that
it looks
they're
phenomenal.
saying the changes that Bethesda has been making to Fallout 4 are making their mod harder to launch, right?
Basically. Because as far as they knew, like we all knew the Fallout 4 update was coming, but Bethesda only said that it was coming to consoles, which this mod wouldn't work on consoles because it's a full-blown like
Right.
expansion
Yeah.
mod. And Bethesda was like, also, hey, surprise, we're gonna do a lot of things to Fallout 4 on PC, which then made this team go, shit.
So
we
they got
need to
to
stop.
see
Yeah.
see what it looks like on the back end. Okay.
Yeah. So there was a lot of talk about like the developers were like, Bethesda used to be kind of very friendly to mods, but this seems like very hurtful. They were kind of saying like it would have been nice to got a heads up that this was coming, as opposed to just randomly them being like, hey, it's coming out next week.
Which is
They,
the Microsoft influence.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where it's like they didn't expect to get access from Bethesda. Like they have no reason for Bethesda to give them access. But if Bethesda could at least give them a heads up, or everyone a heads up on like when this content was coming, they could have
Yeah.
prepared for it a little bit better, and they wouldn't have announced a release date that coincided with this update.
Right.
So yeah, since it's completely independent people, like we don't know how long of a delay this will end up being because they need to find out what's broken and then try and work on it. And this has been a mod that they've been working on for several years. So
That sucks.
yeah, sucks, but we'll see.
All right. So what we're playing and watching, I'm still a little bit in that funk. There is some stuff that's coming out this week that's piqued my interest. There's a new Ninja Turtles beat 'em up game, like a redo of a 2017 one with like 4-player co-op. I think it's like $30. So I was looking into that one, and then I lost the name of it again. It's coming to PS Plus, so here you'll actually hear me make a recommendation for PS Plus Extra or whatever.
Tales of Kenzara Zao.
Yeah, so this is an EA Indies thing. It's coming to a PS Plus Extra and Premium, I think is what it's called. Is that called Premium or PS Plus Extra? And the second and third tier.
Yeah, second.
It's a huge miss for Game Pass not to have this, especially with their relationship with EA. But whatever, it is what it is. This game looks fun. It's a side-scrolling, style game. Looks like maybe some Metroidvania kind of thing. So. I'll definitely be looking into that. I might just buy it on PC though. I'm not sure. So hopefully
Could
those
be a
two,
good thing for the rod.
Yeah, hopefully those two things kind of jolt me out of it a little bit. Still been kind of like dabbling in my Destiny stuff, just getting some of those boxes checked as I'm getting ready for some Final Shape stuff. As we're getting a little closer, they've started to release some of their trailers, and so they definitely got the hype train rolling. Definitely get some people's interest. It looks like that the goal of what they had to with their Into the Light update is somewhat paying off as you're seeing player base increase right now. Granted, they had to give a lot of stuff away for free to get it to increase, and I hope it turns into sales for Final Shape. And then watching, we watched another episode of Fallout. I think it's kind of one of those things where Angela can just kind of handle it like kind of one episode at a time. It's not something I think she can binge. I asked her the other day if she wanted to watch it, and she wasn't really in the mood. And I was like, so are you gonna want to finish this? And she's like, I'm interested enough into wanting to know what happens to the characters. She's like, but I'm not interested enough of like, and the episode ends and I want to watch the next one immediately. So she's kind of, and maybe as the story hopefully ramps up a little bit, starts teasing stuff or starts tying some stuff together, maybe she feels like that. But this is not a show we can watch with Owen even randomly passing through the room.
No.
So there's sometimes an hour show turns into an hour and a half for us because we got to pause it because he wants to tell us about something, and so like that's the life of having an 8-year-old, I guess. But it's definitely interesting. Part of like Michael and I are going to talk about a little bit here at the end, but part of the reason that we're taking a break is because I'm kind of been the one that's kind of been pushing the brake. I've got so much stuff going on, and I think I just need a little mini sabbatical just to see if I can like reset myself. And not that I'm definitely not playing video games like I was 5 years ago. I don't think anybody is, at least anybody that's listening to us. And I just really need to find something that's gonna like hold my attention. Like Spider-Man 2 was great and fun, and I was like, oh, I moved on from it. I was done, and it didn't like catapult me into playing other things like I was hoping it would. So we'll have to see. Like I'm kind of just in this weird spot right now, and I want to be careful because I don't want to just fall down this gigantic rabbit hole again in June when Final Shape comes out, to where 90 days I'm just playing nothing but Destiny, huh?
I'll need a sabbatical.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm trying to be respectful of everybody. Like I don't. You as listeners don't want to hear me just constantly playing Destiny. I love it. I enjoy it, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be everything that I do. But at the same time, like even with access to as many platforms as I have access to, like there's just not very much compelling stuff this year right now.
I said it a month or two ago, or a couple weeks ago, where I was just like, people complain last year was bad for gaming. I had a lot of fucking fun last year, and this year has not been great in terms of new releases.
Yeah,
there's been a couple things, but just nothing.
And nothing seems to stick. Like Helldivers was a ton of fun, but didn't stick. I downloaded Payday, like when I was looking at my
I mean, that was a fucking mess.
Yeah, I was just like, so I was like, oh, delete that. I saw Redfall delete. Like that was still on my hard drive, on my PC hard drive.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, I'm good. um, Hellblade's not in my wheelhouse. Like it's just not something it's currently in my wheelhouse right now. I haven't even downloaded MLB The Show. I'm just like,
Yeah, well, I kind of gave up on MLB last year.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the game.
Yeah.
Still the best baseball game ever made, but it's
Yeah.
still, I'm just like, I just don't, doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, circling back to what we were talking about with some of these other, like the Little Big Planet stuff, and like the companies like proving or not wanting to do live service, whether it's Fallout 76 or Little Big Planet or Dreams. Like I think Rocksteady's like, I wonder if people at Rocksteady are like looking at the board, going, "Look, you fuckers made us make this game. Look what happened. Like, let us do what we know how to do." So.
And hopefully they can.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's kind of like I've been watching Tracker on Paramount. Did you see the rumors about Sony buying Paramount?
It's not surprising. Paramount's been kind of on and off. For
Well,
sale for a
how
little bit.
ironic would it be in the gaming world for Sony to buy the Halo maker, the Halo TV show maker?
I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing, but it would be funny because I feel like that show's like a season. It will probably not make it a third or make it to like a fourth season. And it would probably coincide with PlayStation or Sony buying them.
So.
And be completely unrelated.
But yeah, I downloaded 76, and I sometimes when I just get home from work and I've got something else I got to do, it's I just have to make a decision sometimes, a mental decision, an exhaustion decision. I also did something to my knee in the last 2 to 3 weeks that I don't really know what I did. I can walk fine. I can 95% of the time I can put weight on my knee. I can hop on one foot, but then the other 5% of the time there's like shooting pain on the inside of my right knee. So I'm gonna go see an ortho tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. And hopefully it's just, hey, you're 41. You're gonna be 41 years old. You need to use some more Icy Hot. Like I don't know. That's kind of what I hope.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get ready to play softball, and I made the mistake of telling my wife my knee hurt, and next thing I know I have an appointment. So. Not a mistake. I joke about it, but I mean, I definitely don't want to like round first base and fracture something. Like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
you're at the age now where a minor hurt can end up being a big pop later.
Yeah.
It's like, shit.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go get this looked at. I mean, Michael has somewhat of an idea of my job. Like I have no problem moving around at work. I have no problem lifting stuff. I have no problem pushing stuff. Nothing happens. But then one time I turn a certain degree angle and push, and it feels like somebody's stabbing me in my knee with a needle.
It's because your body's conditioned to do exactly that when you go off the path. It's like, nope.
So, but it's kind of where I'm at with that right now. And again, like most of you have known, like we're getting ready for. I have a Mother's Day weekend. My daughter graduates college in Kentucky, and I'm going also the next day jumping on a plane to Raleigh, North Carolina for a wedding, and then like a day later flying back home to Michigan. So I'm driving to Kentucky, flying to North Carolina, flying from North Carolina to Michigan. So I've got a kind of a whirlwind 4 or 5 days there. It's an awesome experience to see when my second born child graduate college. I never went to college, and I'm 2 for 2 so far on kids graduating college, with a third one that's 8. So I'm living the life right now. But it takes some time and effort, and that all takes stuff away from video games, as well as like cutting the grass and taking care of the yard and the house. So
yeah.
But apologies for not playing too much, but looks like based on this list that Michael's got written here, he at least has some other stuff to talk about. Oh, and the draft this weekend, and the NFL draft is this weekend, and it's here. I know you don't care, but it's here.
Yeah.
It's in Detroit, and Thursday night will be entertaining for me just to watch.
Are you gonna do the combine and do jumps?
No, I can't. My leg hurts.
I'm just saying. If you do go to their little combine,
you need to jump. I just reach.
No. I mean, you can still do it. I've been watching all the influencers going over to the draft combine little thing they have set up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're all like
all
what,
over
5'4"?
Basically, yeah.
They're all a foot shorter than me by default.
Yeah. Even I look down on them, and I'm just like, yeah.
So, all right, what you got?
Yeah, so for me, Fallout New Vegas, I think I will like complete Fallout New Vegas. Like I will see it to the end credits. Mostly playing it just because that was I think I explained it last week. That's the one that Sarah never saw, so we're going back to it. I was surprised how much I forgot about that game. I am constantly being reminded, like when I start a mission, of like, oh shit, this is going to be a really cool mission, or I like vaguely remember things because Fallout New Vegas, when it came out, I played it on a PS3, which was the worst way to play that game. So I remember at a certain point in Fallout New Vegas on the PS3, I just stopped doing side content because I was like, I just need to see the main story end. And now that I'm playing
Is
it
that
on
back in the
Series
day
X,
of that RAM file, or like if your RAM got too your save file got too
I
big?
I want to say they fixed it by the time New Vegas happened.
Okay.
Otherwise, it was just the usual thing from that generation to where the PS3 was the worst port of any
So
third-party
processor
games.
does not compute.
Basically. And like now I'm taking my time and doing all the side quests, so there is some content that I have not seen yet, and I've never done any of the DLC for that game because that game was such a bad experience on PS3 that when they were releasing DLC for money, I was like, hell no, they're not going to get any money from me for this game. So now playing that on the Series X with the frame rate boost, it's super nice way to play this game. So still enjoying that. I did get the PDP Riffmaster guitar that was released.
Awesome.
So I ended up pre-ordering it a couple months ago, and it just randomly I got the email from Amazon like, "Hey, it's shipping tomorrow," and that was a surprise to me, especially Amazon. Charges you as soon as it ships. So when I got a charge for like $140, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then I remembered it's the guitar I ordered. So yeah, this thing is a guitar that is compatible with Rock Band 4 as well as Fortnite. I don't give a fuck about the Fortnite thing. I only care about its Rock Band 4 compatibility. And I did play with it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours today. And one thing I can say is it's a solid piece of plastic. It reiterated on the Rock Band 4 guitar design pretty well. There are some new things that I think it does nicely. I like that it's foldable to where you can easily store it. They mostly were like, hey, then you can take it on the go. It's like, I'm not taking my plastic instruments anywhere. So it's just nice that it can fold in half and I can store it a little bit easier. I love the idea that there is the analog stick on the guitar neck, because now it makes it easier to navigate the entire console with the Rock Band guitar, because that was the thing that even when you're playing Rock Band 4 on a PS4 or PS5, you would still need a controller to at least navigate the console. Like once you're in the game, it's fine. You can, just use the guitar. But having the extra button or the extra analog stick makes it so much easier to navigate the PS5 menu, to where now if I wanted to pick up the guitar and play Rock Band, I don't have to worry about finding like my DualSense controller. So that's a nice little feature. The analog stick is mostly there though for Fortnite integration, but the benefit for Rock Band players is you can navigate the entire system with it now. The controller also has like the share play button, the options button on there, so you can take screenshots, take videos while you're playing, which is a nice feature that it had. And I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting it to have the share button on the guitar. So the fact that that's included is really cool. I don't really see myself sharing content from Rock Band, but it's still a nice thing to have. If you're into like sharing like clips of you playing Rock Band or any other game that you might try playing with this guitar, now that it has an analog stick, it might open up some weird speed runs and playthroughs for other people.
Yeah, I feel like the share functionality, like especially with losing the integration with Twitter and stuff like that, it was already on a downward cycle and it kind of like fell off a cliff. I'm just not seeing as much, and I think the TikTok and the short form and the reel content kind of took over that anyways, and people would rather just produce it that way.
Just the extra step of having to use the PlayStation app to get your photos and videos, it's an extra step people aren't really willing to do.
Yeah.
But it's nice that the guitar does have that feature for those that want to use it.
I'm sure it violates so many licensing acquisitions too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But you can upload videos anywhere. The guitar itself feels pretty good. The buttons on it's really like nicely made, nice sculpt or whatever you want to say. The buttons are nice and clicky, have a good feel to them. Where it feels nice to have a new guitar for Rock Band in 2024. I haven't had a new guitar since whenever the fuck Rock Band 4 came out.
So no more mushy button.
Basically, buttons. What happens with the Rock Band guitars, like I have a Rock Band 1 guitar and a Rock Band 4 guitar, is the the buttons aren't really mushy, but they're like kind of hard to press because on the inside the little rubber padding is like run down enough to where you're kind of just grinding plastic when you press a button as opposed to like having a smooth press through. On this new guitar, obviously everything's new, so it's pretty smooth feeling, has the right amount of click to it. The strum is a pretty silent strum, which I think this is the only thing that like I disagree with a lot of people on. The Rock Band 1 and 4 guitar, Rock Band 1, 2, 4, has a very clicky strum. And a lot of people always thought that was too noisy. And this one is pretty silent. And because of that, it almost feels squishy, even though it doesn't. But it only feels like that because there's just no feedback of a click.
Yeah, you're not getting that feedback. You have to look sometimes. Am I doing it? You know.
Yeah, and that's how I feel with this one of just like it's maybe a little too quiet or a little too mushy for my liking, though it works perfectly fine. Like I was able to play like an hour straight, 2 hours, and I didn't miss a note that I wasn't supposed to miss. As I'm a little rusty. So it in terms of like gameplay wise, it does the job it needs to do, but I wish there was just a little bit of click or feedback, especially. I had to mod my Rock Band 1 guitar with a new strum because the original strum had given out. And the community that makes strums still for Rock Band, they just 3D print and use like a actual like keyboard key with the strum, and it's like kind of MacGyvered, butchered together, and it has a really nice, satisfying click feedback to it that I think I've just grown accustomed to. So this guitar not having that clicky feedback is kind of throwing me off a little bit. But because the buttons feel really good, because it's a new guitar, like I'm super excited to have like a new guitar to play Rock Band with. That isn't, something that I had a mod to keep alive. Because I was this close before they announced these to breaking open my Rock Band 1 guitar further so I can figure out how to replace the buttons just so they can have like the proper press and feedback to them. So I'm very happy with the quality of the PDP guitar. It's called the Riffmaster. I will say it is pretty pricey. It's $129 for the guitar. That's really expensive. Back in the olden days, the guitar would not have cost $130, but this is a very niche thing that they're not going to produce forever, so they obviously had to make it worth.
It works on
their
Rock Band and Guitar Hero, right? Is that what you said?
No. So PS4, PS5 don't have a Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero Live had a completely different type of button mechanic.
Okay.
So it wouldn't have worked with that, though I'm sure people are going to find a way to get this to work with PS3.
Okay.
And then it is also compatible with PC, so you can play technically some Guitar Heroes on PC.
That's cool.
So it'll work there.
Yeah. It's more versatile. Yeah, no. It's potential to be more versatile.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It does use a dongle on PlayStation. Kind of bummed that has a dongle.
That's PlayStation's fault, not their fault.
No, I know. 100. Yeah, I know.
I have I have $300 headsets that still need a damn dongle on PlayStation.
Yeah. Super annoying, but whatever. Like I'm used to it. Yeah, no, this is just really good. I think it's worth the price because I know this is going to be the only new guitar we're going to get probably forever. So if you still play Rock Band or want to go back to it before completely they shut down that store or whatever, I think it is probably worth the $130 to do that. I will probably pick up a second one. Right now I believe they're mostly sold out, though they'll be sprinkling on Amazon's GameStop over the next couple weeks. But they did say they are going to do a full second wave in June or July.
Some random Discord message from Michael like, "Hey, how close are you to this store in Michigan?"
Yeah. So like I probably, when a second wave comes, I'll probably get a guitar again, and I literally will probably just keep it in a box.
Yeah.
Waiting for the new one to break down in like.
Are they talking about any? I mean, I guess are they looking at the success of this, like through Rock Band? Are they talking about other stuff? Like, are they talking? Is there rumors of drums again, or?
It depends on if the Fortnite festival really takes off.
Okay.
That definitely.
At one point in time, there was like a bass and a guitar and drums and everything, right?
Well, the guitar was always flexible either side. It might have a slight different design on it for the bass for one of the full kits, but yeah, there was a full drum set.
Yeah.
So they could potentially produce another set of drums. which would be nice because I definitely need a new set of drums for
Yeah.
sure.
That's gonna be like
But again,
250
it's
though.
yeah, it's going to depend. It's going to be dependent on whether Fortnite Festival truly takes off.
Yeah, yeah.
If not, this is going to be a very interesting piece of gaming history of like, yo, remember when they made guitars for
Yeah,
Fortnite?
it's gonna go like in the same case as the Power Glove or something.
No, it definitely feels like that. But yeah, like I'm happy enough with it after 2 hours that I will probably buy a second one.
Cool.
Because I still play Rock Band probably like once a month, once every other, every other month.
Yeah.
So it definitely is worth it for me. So yeah, that's it for playing and watching. It's been Fallout New Vegas and Rock Band 4. I don't know what year it is.
All right. That is actually our show for this week. We did not receive any other questions. So again, if you guys have a question, please send it in using hashtag AskDigitalDays on Twitter. Post it in the Ask Digital Days channel in our Discord. Post it on Facebook. Any of that stuff, and hopefully we'll find it. Direct message it to me. Direct message it to Michael. Any of those things, and we'll add it to the show. Again, it doesn't have to be gamer related. It can just, or any kind of topic you want to hear us touch on. We would love to hear your questions and your feedback. You can follow us on our main account on Twitter at Digital Days Pod. You can follow Michael at the first MJC. You can follow myself at Good Dave Hunt. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we got a Facebook group and a Discord server, and there's Patreon and PayPal in the show notes. And again, just as a little reminder, as you're listening to this episode, we will not be back on until May 12th, 13th, 14th.
Don't ask me.
15th, 16th. Yeah, so the 12th is Mother's Day, 13th, 14th. Yeah, the 15th, probably live recording on the 15th and audio posting on the 16th, Thursday the 16th. So we are going to take our spring break. We've taken a holiday break in December for 2 weeks usually, so now we're gonna take a spring break of like 2 weeks. Again, some of it's scheduling and some of it's just we don't want to talk about Embracer making 3 companies next week and then closing them.
Closing, yeah.
So we are anticipating the news being light. If something ridiculous happens, Michael and I are a Discord message apart from each other, and we can record if something, if PS6 is announced, like we will have.
And even then, I would solo one if it happens during someone's graduation.
Yeah, so I can make myself somewhat available to do something if I have to, of like record on Discord and we record it. I'll
It's going to be like, Dave, they announced the PS5 Pro, and Dave will be like, damn, okay, thanks, Dave. He'll hang up.
But yeah, we love doing the show, but it's just, sometimes we just need to take a break. We're not trying to protect any kind of streak. We're just here to conversate about video games and to hang out with you guys and build a community. So, and within that community, you guys, fall behind on the podcast or take breaks, and we're going to take a break. So we'll be back, hopefully refreshed and willing to find some new thing. And maybe I'll become a Fallout junkie or something. I don't know. Probably not.
Never know.
So, but I know you're not going to be able to, you guys aren't going to hear from us for a couple weeks. So do you have anything awesome or anything to leave it with, Michael?
No, hopefully when we come back, we won't be talking about Fallout New Vegas anymore or Fallout in general. We'll have something new, at least on my end, gameplay wise.
No, I think ultimately, like, if there's not a story that's worth recording for, like oh, that's cool, like I'll throw it in the notes, Michael will throw it in the notes, and we'll touch on it. I mean, that's kind of the cool part about the way that we kind of format our show, is that we've tried to pride ourselves as much as possible of not being very date driven, like driven around events or things that are happening. It's part of the reason why we don't talk about releases and like launch trailers and content updates and stuff like that. We kind of really wanted to focus around the business standpoint of it and us playing and taking a break for us to have some time to play. And if a story sits for 10 days, it's not going to be the end of the world. We're still going to have opinions on it. So, but other than that, I hope everyone has a great couple weeks. Enjoy your early spring and have some fun, and keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya. All right.
All right. Those of you who are still watching on the stream, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we will talk to you all in a couple weeks.